Something fishy is going on in crypto, guys. So I get a text from my friend the other day, and he tells me that the Bitcoin ETF has been disapproved. Now, my friend is a big naysayer of crypto. He just wants to see it crash and burn, and he just thinks that all crypto is worthless. But I'm like, this doesn't really make sense to me. So just with even a minute's worth of research, just looking on the web, I can see that if I'm looking for this, I cannot see anything about the crypto ETF actually getting disapproved. All I can see is that the SEC will reject spot ETFs in Bitcoin. Bitcoin likely to be rejected. Spot ETFs could be rejected. So how do you get from this to a massive dump and everyone just say on Twitter, etc., that the ETF has been disapproved? Now, obviously, think this is Chinese whispers. People just see an article, they tell their friends that it's going to be disapproved or it has been disapproved because they send this article. They just think that this guy just knows something that we don't maybe, or they're just lost in translation. But it just shows how much is hinging on this ETF and how weak hands people are in crypto. People were just expecting this ETF, and even just a breath of that ETF getting disapproved, they're selling. And we just see a big dump to the downside. But I think this is something fishy. It's something sinister. Why did he publish this article? Well, if you actually take a look at his Twitter, you can see that he's big on sharing negative news, right? Like, you can see correction was inevitable. Yeah, no shit. Like, you did this. So will Bitcoin fall further? Hopefully not. See, you can even see here, please avoid oversimplified rumors. Mark did not conflict the same day. Okay, maybe it's about the same thing, but the stock of biggest public holder is overvalued. So even just a second looking at this guy's Twitter, you can just see he publishes a lot of negative news. But this one just latched onto people. People just took this away and just dumped their coin thinking that this ETF was going to get disapproved. So that just suggests there's a lot of people holding their life savings in this. So you just need to do like a second of research and just hold true to what you think is going to happen. Because realistically, look at it this way. The government wants to regulate crypto, right? They've built this framework. They've positioned Coinbase. They got Coinbase under their thumb. Coinbase is pushing out the base network to bring users under their ecosystem. Everything is set up for this to get approved. You even look at Wall Street. They've been trying to invest in crypto for a long time. They knew that Bitcoin wasn't regulated, etc. So they were looking to invest into companies. You look at the FTX investments where they did absolutely no due diligence that they normally would. A huge failure on the part of VCs and financial institutions. They just invested into these companies because the Bitcoin wasn't regulated. So if they can have a regulated Bitcoin, then they can invest straight into Bitcoin with no corruption, similar to the FTX scandals. Everything is set up for this to be approved. If you even look, you can see that the ETF hadn't even been submitted yet. It was set for around the 10th of January. But you can see just through looking at some articles, you can see that the NASDAQ is to meet with the SEC today to discuss spot Bitcoin ETFs. So you can just see from TradingView, for example, that Bitcoin rallied before this. We're rallying up towards the ETF approval, and this is where the news took wind and we saw a massive drop. Now, I believe this was done in foul play to get the price to tank a bit, so bigger whales or bigger money could come in and just buy a load of Bitcoin at a cheaper price so they could get in below the ETF. Because I believe this ETF is already priced in for the most part. We will see a lot more money trickle in as time goes on when big investors feel a bit more comfortable or they allocate a portion. Money is expensive right now, so as that capital starts to unlock, as interest rates go down and they bring that out of money market funds, they will push that into crypto. So we're not going to see that huge rally, I believe, from the ETF approval. I think it will come in time. So I think that they have dumped this a bit to buy in, and now we can already see a rally since then of a few thousand, up from 42 to 44. And for financial institutions, 42 to 44, they're used to much lesser percentage returns, even though they have massive amounts of money, because they're just usually in the stock market, right? So this kind of gains is quite good for them, but they just want to have some security when buying. So I believe this news was some foul play, and it just shows the weak hands of people holding crypto. So if you didn't sell, well done, good for you. But this just shows that you need to change your mindset if you did sell for the rest of the bull run. If you just see some news and you're just selling instantly without a second thought or doing any of your own research, then you're in for a world of pain in this bull market, because generally speaking, you always sell on high news, you don't sell on low news, something like this. And even just from a minute of research, you could have seen that this all was not true. There is still a big chance, and I do think it's going to happen, that the ETF will get approved. If you're an early holder and you're still holding now, you're going to see the big upside, because we have a 2-year bull run, right? This is just a blip in the market. It's barely anything realistically from the long term. If you can hold out for these tiny micro news changes, then you'll see the big upside that comes out of crypto in the next 2 years, and only sell when your grandmother, your dog, your cat start talking about buying crypto. That's when you really want to be selling, because right now we're still very early. There is more coming into the market. And if you think about crypto, right, like a lot of these coins are getting lost. People are just holding them for the long term. So as more and more gets bought up, the price is inevitably going to go up. And if you stick with Bitcoin and Ethereum, you're going to be safer. I don't know if these old coins are just going to pump as much. So these ETFs are going to cover Bitcoin and Ethereum. So if you're holding these, you have a big upside. But if you're looking at other investments that have a bigger upside potential, I think something like Optimism is probably a good bet, or Web-based token when you can get a hold of it. Coinbase is under the government's thumb, right? They are the regulatory exchange that the government is trying to push. That's why we're seeing the stock rally. This is the theory, okay? So the only other options you have are probably like Optimism or the Base Network for higher returns. But for a safe bet, something regulated now, which would be Bitcoin and Ethereum. I just think that we're going to see much less volatility as it goes much higher. You're not going to be able to get these kind of dumps or this kind of news, because once it gets regulated, these kind of scare newses, etc., could be potentially punished. They will be investigated for stuff like this. There'll be investigations for insider trading, etc. So they won't get away with this kind of stuff after the ETF. So I believe this is a way to just get it done beforehand, dump the coin, and then they can buy in, because a lot of people are going to have to answer if they're doing this kind of stuff after. There'll be reports of insider trading, etc. This is the last ditch attempt to get a nice big pullback, and you guys sold. You gave them that nice steep discount, and now they're happily bought in. So if you have sold, do consider buying back in, and just do a bit of research next time. Just have a better mindset about this, and you just need to prepare for the long run. Just buy that coin, hold it, and just don't sell it until the bull run is over. Obviously, before it dumps, but you just need to have a long-term mindset. And if you did sell, it's probably because this is money that you're afraid to lose, and now you probably did lose some money as well. So just having the mindset that these coins that you buy are for the longer term, and that you don't need this money right now. If you do, just don't invest as much and just take less of a gamble, because you're probably going to lose more anyway if you have this kind of mindset right now. So just take a minute and assess the situation if you did sell, and just write down your steps. Okay, if news comes out, if I get scared, do some research. Just don't sell right away, okay? Thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe if you liked the video. Appreciate it. Thanks.